Last week we discussed introducing a token system for Noah,
Yeah.
where he was awarded for good behaviour and tokens were removed for non-compliant behaviour. How's that been going for you?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. Like, we've noticed some improvements in his positive behaviour, so he's more keen to sort of have a go, and he feels more motivated.
That's good.
Which is good. But I suppose, we're still seeing some of there's still some things that he just chucks big tantrums about, and where we can't calm him down.
Yeah.
He doesn't do what we say, so it hasn't
worked for all behaviours.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so it sounds like you've had some good success with the token system for kind of less problematic behaviours.
Yeah.
But for these bigger, kind of more emotionally charged behaviours, they haven't worked as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we have another disciplinary strategy that we can introduce for those more problematic behaviours, and it's called timeout from positive reinforcement. Have you heard of timeout before?
Yeah, we've had a timeout.
Okay, so what timeout have you used before?
Well, if they're just being really rude and naughty, then you just chuck them in their room until they've calmed down.
Yeah. Okay, so the timeout that we're going to talk about is a little bit different to that, so we're just going to make a few adjustments if you're willing to try this for the next week. So the aim of timeout from positive reinforcement is basically just to remove your child from a reinforcing situation and put them in a boring, non-reinforcing situation where they're just by themselves.
Okay.
So at the moment, when Noah gets distracted while he's doing the dishes, so that was a problematic behaviour, what you've said is you kind of had this argument, and that's kind of reinforcing his behaviour because there's no consequences. So he's being told to do the dishes again and again and again, but there's never any punishment for not doing it.
Yeah.
So from now on, what we're going to introduce is every time Noah doesn't comply with a command, there's going to be a punishment.
Okay.
And this can sometimes be really difficult for parents to implement because it can be a bit kicking and screaming, but over about a week or so, this should really work to get Noah to be more compliant.
Okay.
Would you be willing for me to tell you a little bit more about this timeout system?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then we can address some of your concerns, and we'll do a role play as well, so we can kind of just see, so we can see if there's any barriers that come up.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, so the timeout system kind of works like a traffic light.
All right.
So we've got the green light, and this is when you issue the first command. So let's go with the problem behaviour about Noah getting distracted and watching the TV.
Yeah.
So this is the first command that you issue.
Okay.
Noah, stop watching the TV and do the dishes.
Okay.
And going back to session 2, where we did the effective commands program, these commands are delivered in a business neutral tone.
Yeah.
How does that sound?
Yeah, I reckon I can do that.
Yeah. And then, so what we want to do then is we wait 5 seconds for Noah to respond to the command.
Okay.
So you actually count down in your hand for 5 seconds so
Okay.
he knows. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then eventually we'll strip that back so it becomes less of he just does it rather
He
than...
knows.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And then, so if he still hasn't complied after 5 seconds,
Yep.
we're giving him the yellow light warning.
Okay.
So this is that, Noah, you haven't listened to what I said.
Yep.
And if you don't, you'll be going to the timeout chair. So the timeout chair is going to be in an area that's free from distractions. So free from his siblings, free from toys. It's in a really boring place. And so this could just be in a hallway. Is there anywhere like that you could do that?
Yeah, probably the hallway is the best.
Yeah. Okay, so the best thing about implementing this timeout system is it really is removing the emotion from discipline.
Yeah.
So rather than getting carried away in this argument, you just put Noah in the timeout chair.
Well, I feel after I've given him the yellow light, he's still just not going to do it. He's just so naughty.
Yeah, that's a really common concern for parents. So if you're willing to just try it over the next few weeks, hopefully Noah's behaviour becomes more obedient when he realises there's a consequence for his negative actions. So at this yellow light stage, if he's still not compliant, we do the 5 seconds again. And then after 5 seconds, we're putting him in the timeout chair. So this is the consequence. So Noah, you do not do as I said. Now you're going to the timeout chair.
Okay.
And usually they'll kick and scream and they'll try and fight back, but just grab him by the arm and place him there. If he gets up, just keep on putting him back into the chair. Eventually he'll realise that chair's where he's got to stay.
Okay.
And yeah, so the rule of thumb is Noah stays there for 1 minute for every year of his life, so 8 minutes for Noah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then this is the most important part of timeout, is when you get back to, after 8 minutes, you reissue the first command.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to make sure that Noah's actually doing what you initially asked him to do. So
Okay.
if Noah doesn't get up and clean the dishes after that, he remains there for 5 more minutes.
Okay, so I just want to get it clear. So he goes into the chair, even if he's like screaming, kicking, and he has to stay there for 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And if he tries to get out of the chair, then he has to stay in there for another 5 minutes.
On top of the 8, yeah.
Okay, so the time gets longer.
Yeah, if he is behaving badly.
And then afterwards, he has to go and do the thing that he was getting cranky about doing.
That's right, yeah. So we want to make sure that he's complying to the behaviour.
Okay.
So we're really just teaching him that not complying with mum or dad's commands, you will be punished.
Yeah, okay.
You know, there will be a consequence
Okay.
until you do that action.
All right.
Yeah. Do you see any barriers or issues with this, or?
Well, only that he's just going to chuck massive tantrums, but I
Yeah.
suppose you sort of said that that'll get less and less. So
Yeah.
there's nothing we can do but give it a go, really.
It is really difficult. Parents have said it's really difficult implementing this for the first few times because they get really upset.
Yeah.
Just be strong, and if you and Michael are working as a team, I'm sure it'll become more effective over the week.
Okay.
Yeah. So, did you want to quickly try a role play?
Yeah.
Where I'll be Noah and you can be
Sure.
yourself.
Okay.
I'll just grab. Did you want a little handout to remind you of the light system? Or
Yeah, sure.
I'll just quickly grab it. Okay, so this is a little handout just to remind you of the traffic light system.
All right.
So I'll start off being Noah.
Okay, so we're doing he's watching TV.
Yeah,
Okay.
TV, or whatever you'd like to.
All right, let's go with that because that's a really common one.
So I'm watching TV.
Hey Noah, can you please stop watching TV and finish washing the dishes? I'm going to count to 5.
I'm just watching TV.
Okay, Noah, if you do not do as I say, then you're going to be sitting in the timeout chair for 8 minutes. I'm going to count to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Noah, you do not do as I said. Now you're going to the timeout chair. You'll stay there until I see that you've calmed down. Come with me.
No! Okay. Great. That sounds great. So do you have any concerns or worries about...
I suppose when I was doing it, I could feel myself getting cranky at him for not listening, and I found it hard to not be business-like.
Yeah, so that's just going back to the effective commands that we went through on session 2.
Mm.
So we can also go through that again and just discuss how effective commands need to be delivered in a non-emotional and kind of neutral tone.
Yeah.
It's just really more effective in disciplinary strategies, as well as
the emotion away.
You don't want the parent-child relationship to become impaired and more conflicted and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
And also, another good point that I forgot to mention is at the end of this timeout, we want to bring in that positive attentive behaviours again. So once Noah has gone and done the dishes, which you initially asked him to do, you want to say, Noah, I really liked the way you listened to Mummy, or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Great.
Pretty scary. But hey, I'm sorry.